Cobra Kai has finally returned after almost 2 years. The good news, the first part of the season was awesome, but the bad news is it's in 3 parts and it won't be concluded until next year. With us getting 5 episodes to kickstart season 6, there was a lot that happened, although it was significantly shorter than usual. Following on from the end of season 5, where we saw that Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence agreed to work together, we also saw that after John Kreese successfully escaped from prison, he had other intentions of training a new set of fighters, Master Kims, with death, romance, fight scenes, and relationships breaking down, and that's only the start of what we saw occurring. Let's jump into the video and break down all that there was to take away from the first 5 episodes. Here is Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 1 Ending Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The ending explained. This whole first part was centered around Miagi-Do preparing for the Sekai Taikai tournament that was going to be held in Barcelona, a competition where the best fighters in the world would need to go up against each other and see who truly is the best. Balance was the key thing that we saw needed to be present amongst every single character in the show, but it was seen most with Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso. They both agreed to work with one another, but it was causing a bit of friction due to a clash in their beliefs and the ways that they wanted to work. Even once they agreed to be on the same page about the name and also the approach, as Johnny didn't want anything to do with Cobra Kai and John Kreese's legacy, there were still conflicts that just kept occurring. This reached its peak in the closing moments of the final episode, with Tory's mother passing away and her turning up to fight Sam for a spot as the captain for the female side in the competition. She was channeling her anger whilst in the fight, and this was something which caused division amongst Johnny and Daniel. Each and every one of the individuals fighting for the captaincy was fighting for something. Miguel was fighting because it would give him a better chance at getting into Stanford, as that was the college that he got deferred from. Robby was fighting because he didn't want to be second anymore, and also for Tory. Sam was fighting because she wanted to beat Tory, and Tory was fighting due to the anger that she had over the fact that her mother had died. With Daniel finding out that Tory's mother had died, he stopped the fight due to him believing that the people that fought under Miagi-Do shouldn't fight with anger. That was more aligned with the ways that Cobra Kai fought. Johnny didn't back Daniel, and it showed that the division was still present between them and that the future of the dojo was going to be in question because they didn't know if they'd be able to look past their differences. So they agreed that once the tournament was over, they were going to part ways. We saw that Robby won the fight against Miguel, which meant that he was going to be captain, and we also saw that Sam won by default due to Tory leaving and saying that she was done. It was only once the 6 that got selected that ended up going to Barcelona were around the mat that they saw John Kreese and his team arrive, and also that Tory was now on the side of Kreese, showing that the hatred that she had within her was something that she'd be channeling. As John Kreese said, the only way to go for the heart of somebody is to harness the hatred that's inside of you. So it seems like that's what she's going to be doing, using the hatred that she has for the world over the fact that her mother was taken from her and fighting against her friends. Division was a key theme in this season of the show too, whether that be Tory stepping away, Johnny and Daniel having a wedge between them, Hawk and Dimitri drifting apart due to Hawk saying that he didn't want to go to college, and also Daniel finding out secrets about Mr. Miyagi that he didn't know about from many years ago due to the box that was under the floorboards. Mr. Miyagi was a silent partner in a boxing gym, and it seemed like he was involved in some kind of crime which made him leave the States. Right at the end, we also saw that it was revealed that he fought in the Sekai Taikai competition, as Daniel noticed the same symbol on the headband that was in the box. It had a lot of blood on it, so I wonder if that's a hint at how dangerous of a competition it's going to be. The Miagi-Do have a lot counting on the competition. For example, Johnny is hoping that the money that gets generated from sponsorships in the competition will be enough to get his family a new home, and that the house will be big enough for when his daughter arrives. Many are also counting on it as an alternative to college, such as Hawk and Robby, and others are hoping it boosts their chances of getting into colleges, such as Miguel. So their time in Barcelona genuinely has the potential to be life-changing for most of them. While sticking to the theme of division, there was a moment in this episode where we saw that Devon was responsible for making Kenny have his accident and lose his place on the trip to Barcelona where he could have been competing. I think a sense of guilt is going to overcome Devon in the next part of the season, especially because I imagine Kenny is going to be blaming Anthony when it wasn't him in the first place. So that's something which will probably get explored too. I predict there's going to be some kind of Tory redemption arc in the next part of the season as well, as I just can't see the final season concluding with her being on the side of bad. Whilst the theme was division and balance, I think the next part of the season will be more about togetherness and them needing to work as a team. I also think this will repair Johnny and Daniel's relationship too. My review of Part 1. I thought Part 1 of Season 6 was a great way for the season to kick off its 3-part spell. I thought there were some great choreographed fight scenes, which is one of the main reasons why I keep coming back to the show, because the camera work, the choreography, and the dramatic nature of it is amusing and entertaining to watch. I thought the pacing of these first 5 episodes was also really well handled. It didn't rush things because it knows that it's got 15 episodes to work with, so this was all about preparation. I imagine Part 2 is going to be all about the competition, and then Part 3 will be about once everybody has returned home and what occurs when they either win the competition or lose it. Season 5 felt like it was heavily focused on Robby and Miguel, but this time round, it didn't seem like they had much screen time at all. It was only in the final episode where we really saw them, so seeing as though they often feel like 2 of the main characters, their presence was missed slightly. I liked the way that this season started with Tory and Sam being at a point where they were considered weak compared to the previous season, but it concluding with them giving the fiercest fight that they'd ever given. It provided real development and you could clearly see the pathway that the show was taking. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of found the Mr. Miyagi secret a bit pointless. I also found it surprising that they'd never looked under the floorboards there or even considered moving the bed. It just didn't seem that realistic. I don't feel like it really holds much weight, and it just seems to be impacting Daniel LaRusso in a way that I don't quite understand. I get that it changes his perception of somebody that he spent his entire life admiring, but for it to impact him in the way that it is, I do find it a bit silly. I'm hoping that the connection to him fighting in the Sekai Taikai will develop it forward and bridge the connection just a bit more. I do think it's a bit ridiculous that John Kreese has been able to not only escape from prison in the way that he did, but also then go and train a load of fighters, and then manage to get on a flight to Barcelona without being detected and is now walking around freely. Either the authorities there are just terrible, or the writers don't care that it doesn't make sense and would definitely not be possible. The fights are going to be broadcast on TV as well, so surely he's going to end up being caught eventually. One thing that I do often question about this show is what audience it's directly trying to target. Many people grew up on the original Karate Kid movie, and they're definitely not kids now. But there are elements of this show that makes me question if it's trying to target kids specifically. Sometimes it seems quite soft in its approach, but then on other occasions they'll use language that doesn't quite match the tone and feel of the show. So I do feel it gets a bit lost when it comes to identifying its audience. I can't imagine people that watched the movie in 1984 sitting down and enjoying this show in the same way, but that feels like something that's always been the case with this show. For now, Part 1 is complete, and we've got to wait until November until the next batch of episodes get released. I, for one, can't wait to see how the competition's going to develop. So, there you have it, Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 1 Ending Explained. If you want to see more videos such as Endings Explained, theories and predictions, and character breakdowns, then click on the card in the top corner. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. What did you think of Season 6 Part 1? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, thanks for tuning into the video, and I'll see you in the next one.